Hey, this is Sean Mathis, and today is Monday, December 3rd, 2018, and I am an oil futures trader, and this is my journey. So, this is the third time I've recorded this, and so I'm guessing it will be even better because I keep having problems with Snagit, and but third time's the charm, right? So, I'm going to do my best to get through it. So, real quick. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You probably have to be a little crazy to trade futures. The risk of loss is very high, but so are the results. And I'll continue to do that, I guess, because better safe than sorry. So today it's Monday. So it's a new week. I had all week to think about what was going to happen and what I needed to improve, and I think I came into today with a really good state of mind, and I was ready, a little nervous, a little apprehensive, of course, as it always goes, because you want to do well, but there's a fine line between psyching yourself out and thinking that you have to do well, and then pretty soon you're not executing on your edge because you're not willing to take trades and because you're trying to anticipate the outcome, which is the killer of traders, because we never know how any one trade is going to work out. There's no way to tell. Zero chance. A huge trader could come in at the second after you enter your order and slam 1,000 contracts in at market, and it's going to crush you. So anyway, what I'm going to do is go through my context and my read, my process that I went through when I woke up, and from marking my levels and everything that I had to do to the actual trades that I took. So today, I really understood a little bit more about how important it is to be methodical with what we do as traders. And that means everything from marking levels to what programs that you open. If you have a list, you almost can just knock them out one by one, and you become more efficient because you're so used to doing them, and that improves your process. And in the past, I haven't really liked that because I tend to be a little more free, and I don't like things very rigid and structured sometimes. But as I do this more and I see how important it is, and that comes into like having a trading plan and knowing exactly what that needs to say, everything from your setup, every single detail about your trading plan, to how you handle your losses, what products you trade, what will you do if A happens, if B happens, what qualifies, at what areas and what zones are you taking this trade, what happens if you hit your loss limit, all of those things. And I've had this trading plan for years, and I had it in 2016 last time I traded, and I did do it kind of. I didn't do it to the extent that I should have. I didn't really flush it out to every single detail that I needed to. So I'm really taking it a lot more seriously this time, and it's not perfect. It's still a work in progress, but it's a nice, 6-7 page Google Doc right now. And my hope is too, in the next few days, I'm going to have some other traders take a look at it and give me some feedback if there's anything that I need to work on or improve on it. So it's so important. It can't be understated. And, you're playing with some extremely big, powerful people in this market. Large hedge funds, oil companies that are putting on huge positions, and to expect to come in here and be able to do well without being extremely prepared and on your game is very arrogant and ridiculous. My old mentor used to tell me, he's like, you need to have realistic expectations of yourself, because you're trying to come and basically, it's like trying to play in the NFL and you're still playing pee-wee football. And that made sense to me, because I always tend to have very unrealistic expectations or high expectations for myself, and that comes with a lot of frustrations a lot of times. But that's okay too sometimes, because our unrealistic expectations and our frustrations with ourselves in our current state of where we're at drive us to making ourselves better, to improving our craft or whatever it is we're trying to attain. So I'll get to it. And I am praying that this thing does not error again, because if it does it a third time, I don't know. That's too much. I want to go do some things. So first thing when I looked at the price action from last night, obviously we were way out of, we broke way out of this previous balance zone here, where we were all last week and have been trading back and forth. So my expectations were, first of all, to figure out what the hell is going on, to see if I can see and get a handle on where price was above this level or where this price was below this level. So we were breaking out of this previous balance here below, and then there's a lot of price above here as well and to the left. And let me see. It's probably better on another. So this is the price that we have. I mean, it's easier to see on this 30-minute, but I don't want to show all of that because this shows the whole day. So this is the price that I'm watching. You know, these bar lows, and then also this untested low here. So my expectation when I see this overnight high is that is going to be tested. That's right here. That's this guy. So my expectation is that this is either going to, at some point after the open, this is going to be tested. And this was like late in the day yesterday. So overnight, price continued to just kind of work its way down. Kept working its way down. So my expectation was we were going to open in this range between the overnight high and this, this bar high and the overnight low, which is right around here. And we did. We ended up, this is about right where we opened here. So I'm watching, and I'm trying to see how, you know, these old bar highs are going to respond to price. And first of all, what I'm watching is the first thing that sticks out to me is that we're still before the open, but we get this strong rejection of price here for this old bar high. So we get this failure of price, call it a failure. So technically, at this point, I'm really looking towards the short side, because at this point, it doesn't look to me like we're going to, I mean, we definitely can come back up and test this, but my expectation is it will go down to test the overnight low. And before I make another decision on what my next expectation is. And if we get to that point, eventually, if we break out way below there, we could be in a hard trending down into these old bar highs. That's why I have this zone marked, and then this zone as well, because that was my upside expectation. Pretty quickly, I wasn't looking at long setups anymore with this failure before the pit session open at 7. So now already I'm looking at, I want to get short with a valid setup. And we get this nice imbalance move down. And so I'm going to switch over to the 3-minute because that's mostly what I'm watching. I'm only looking at the 15 generally for the longer term context to mark my levels and my zones. So let's go back here to what I'm looking at. So we know we have this was that bar high that I'm talking about that failed. That this high failed, and then we're moving down. So this is our overnight low here. So now at this point, ideally, I really want to try to find a setup to get short before this low gets taken out. So I'm looking at this 3-minute, and what happens is I see this imbalance move down, and now this is our round. We have this round number at 53 here as well. So now at this point, I'm starting to look for specific setups to where I can get in a failure of price here around this round number. You can see this flip here, this bar low, bar high, and then you have this mini composite, this flip zone where you have price break down, imbalance down, come up, back up, and test here. You can see it respected price here is 2 as well. So at this point, I'm looking to get short. So here, and I want to go, my process becomes now I'm trying to identify, I see this spike up, and I'm also watching Bookmap at the same time here. So this right here at 757. So we have this auction, this flip, we get this one last spike up here with a lot of volume, and immediately comes back down. To me, that's a failure of that price, and I want to get short. So where do I get short? Based on Bookmap here, I can see a little bit better the order flow. So I'm going to put my order, my entry right below this volume here. And so you say, well, that's not realistic on demo. Well, it is realistic because it did trade through my price. I would never take that as a trade if it doesn't trade through my price. So price did go, I got very lucky. It was a very nice entry. Price went to 99. I did have my order in before at 98. You can see it executed at 98. Now I had no idea we were going to get this spike down. The only thing I had an expectation of to test the overnight low at 80 here. The overnight low was about 80, right around here. That was my expectation. That's it. Did I know that I was going to get this nice imbalance down? No, of course not. I expect a reaction at that level, but I didn't know what was going to happen. So I got very lucky. It was a beautiful trade, and it worked out for 20 ticks in less than 2 minutes. Can't ask for much better than that. I've been going back and forth with saying, should I try to manage these manually? I can get some better runners, but if I can get 20 ticks in less than 2 minutes, I'll take that all day. Why not? And in this case, after that imbalance, it would have worked itself all the way back up to 91, would have held this lower side of price here, and I wouldn't have been taken out, and price would have continued to kind of work its way down. But then if I hadn't taken out, I would have been taken out break even here. So why risk it? If you can get 20 in 2 minutes, I'll take that all day. So it's a fine line always. The greed monster is always there. So beautiful start to the day. Now, I want to talk about this other trade because technically as part of my setups, I trade failures of price and also breakout pullbacks on large imbalance moves, first touch back. And so what happens here is technically this trade qualifies. So what I'd be looking for is to get short again where this imbalance move comes from. And we can look again at, and this is beautiful because you can see this is just a very thin move down. All this volume, prices are likely to move back here. So I could have taken this. I would have put price, who knows, I don't know around where, but right around here, under this structure, under that area where the imbalance move comes from. So right around here somewhere, or even here would have been a great entry at 85. And that would have been good. I could have taken that for another 20. And not only that, but you have another chance here, and you can see it well. This is the trade that I took here, the imbalance down. Now I ask myself, where do sellers come back in after this imbalance move down? They come back in right here. You can see the big imbalance move. Sellers come back, step in here at 91. So when we work our way down, if we break this low, which we did here by a tick, which is a little more dangerous, but we come back up and we fail this. This is a failure to me as well, again, of where sellers stepped in here. So I'd be looking to get short again here on this. This is technically a failure. And you can see it holds, it's failing this zone. I would call this this is a whole zone right here. That's a little too wide. This tool is not very good. This zone here, like all of this in here, this is flipping around here. This fails here, moves, and this is the bar that I really like here. Doesn't matter the wick, but just the bar that it pushes down into here. So at 8:30, I'd be looking to get short again, and I didn't. So I don't know why I talk about it, but it's a real legit setup here. See, it holds. This is that. It one ticks that low, which you could say makes it a little more risky. And then this push back up into here is a great short to take it down into this level, into this. And I would say to take this off right here at the 62.63 ahead of this volume, and you would have been good for 20 there. Great, beautiful trade. So still, after this, I'm still looking to get short down into those tops. My context doesn't change until we get down into those tops. That's this zone here. And if that breaks that, then I'd be looking to these untested highs here and the yesterday's high, which we didn't get there. So at this point, my first expectation is that we're going to have a reaction on these tops here, which we absolutely did, and I'm looking to get long at that point, and I did. We have this spike down. I don't know what that was. It almost seemed it was so fast it happened in less than a minute, and so I'm watching. At this point, we still have sellers are still definitely in control, but at this point, this bar here, and I was a little early on it, and this push up on Bookmap, it looked like the sellers were really starting to get weak. And it's a little bit later, right here. So here we have this, and I consider this a small failure. And it's questionable. It really is. It's a questionable trade. It's very aggressive, especially being at low day. But it did push up into here. And I'm thinking, if I take this trade, I want a de-risk point. And my de-risk point is above this little red bar high here. If price breaks there, above that, that's my de-risk. If price can't move above that and get some momentum, I'm out of that trade. Because I know then they're very likely to come down and test this low again. And that's exactly what happened, unfortunately. I could have taken 10 off on it, but I didn't. And I'm trying to work through that on my expectancy as well. If I put, or maybe trade 2 lots and take 1 off, but I don't know yet. And then so it was a good trade. You can say, see, I took it off at +1 here for that, and that was my only 2 trades for the day. But what happened is then I saw this guy, this last failure at 9.55, and this is the one I really wanted to take. It was much better than the one that I took. Because it pushed, and sellers had nothing left at that point. And I just couldn't get the order. I couldn't get it. Let's see here. Okay, so because price just took off, I wanted to get a pullback without breaking. See, once price broke above this bar high here, I didn't want to buy. I didn't want to be a buyer anymore, because if price came above this and comes back down to where I could enter, that was a failure of this area here. So then I'm looking and I'm trying to get long for pretty much the rest of the day. And I didn't get any chances. And you got a nice reaction. I was considering taking a short if I got some kind of failure in here off this zone, but it just didn't work out. So that was my trades for the day. Not too much, but beautiful day. I felt like I really had a good read on the day, the price action. The only thing that didn't go well is I felt like I could have. I've had a few opportunities I could